Okay, welcome to the pre-market session, December 18. Today is going to be like a more educational movie, a deep dive into how to take losses, actually. Last 2 days were pretty weak in the market. Yes, I had to make a movie because, I was still busy posting a movie on posting a video on Shorts on the December 16, which had a 285% return on my calls. So I made one video that was called 110% return in 10 minutes, and then another video of 110% return in 2 hours. So those were the two videos I was busy with. Yesterday was a pretty calm day. Came out green, but it was a weak market. And today is also a very, very weak market. As you can see here, I'm going to try and find that picture of the stocks. If I can find it here, for example, you see only one stock at 63% highs, and for a long time there was no stocks higher than actually 50%. So that's very, very weak. When like usually in pre-market you have the first hour like 2-3 stocks who can go up 100%, which didn't happen today. So let's get back to the beginning of the pre-market session. Here we are, December 18th. So AKTX, 1.5 position at 34.5 at 31.50. I actually tried to get in the position of 30 cents, like at about 10:02. So that's 2 minutes in the pre-market. It actually went up 10% or something to 37, but it only hit 32 cents. I missed that one. Then I FOMO'd a bit, feeling I could probably go over. I felt like it could go over to like 40 cents, so I went in that. Half a position and half again at 31.50, as you can see. And then I took more at 29.50 here. 29.50. I took another half position and I stopped out at 28.90. Then I took the Bixie lottery. That's a small. When I say lottery, I mean a small position. There was not a lot of volume in it, but it could have been one of those beast moves that go up another 100% in a few minutes. Ended up taking a loss at 13.50. So here you can see two losses of 10%. Well, the Bixie lottery was a very small position, so if you make 100%, it's relevant. But if you take like a loss of 10%, it's not that relevant. So that was a good call to get out. Bixie went all the way down to $10. I think it was. Here you can see went all the way down to $10. So that was a very good. That's the point. Cut your losses early, because if you don't, you just hold the bag. Just gonna have to check where Bixie is now. It's still now at like $9.90. So it never recovered. It was a perfect exit. Was the entry perfect? No, not that amazing, but it had a potential of a move. So we took those two losses and we continue. So here's the lesson here. I tried getting in at 14, but it was too quick. I mean, I tried taking a cut at 14, but it happened too quickly. I thought maybe I can break even at 15. It didn't happen, so I ended up taking up that 10% loss. Take losses quickly is the lesson. Lesson number 3 as well. You have to take, in a weak market, you have to take really good entries, because you're not going to be taking 100% movers there anymore. You're not going to take 50% movers usually, as you're going to see as we continue into the market. It's going to be way harder to get in and to squeeze juice. That's what we do in day trading. You try to squeeze the juice out of the stock. So if there's not a lot of volume, then there's not a lot of juice. So you have to take the good position to make that 5, 10, 15%. If you get in a high position, you won't make that. And your mind will tell you, I could make it 10%. But no, you're already up in the high range and you won't be able to make that 10%. Then you end up holding the bag. So here I see suddenly Urgo, URGO, taken 34 cents and 50. Tight stop, because I feel like if it goes under that, we're going all the way down again. So here's the stop loss. I put in 33.8. That's not even like a few percent down. Like I said, I took that position. It's a now make it or break it moment. That's where you want to be at a lot of times, because it has a lot of potential. If it doesn't, you take a small loss, but if it goes, you can make a nice amount. And you can see here on the graph, like where I got in this 34.50 here, this was it, you know. And look what a beautiful move it made in like 4 minutes. 1, 2, 3, 4 minutes. It went up to like 39.40. I actually took a gainer at 38 cents, so we made it 10%. Here you see the 10% move, at 10% out at 38 for the 10%. So we kind of regain our losses on the other stocks of like ADTX. You know, it's a little more a loss because I had a bigger position, and then the Big C is still that one position that lottery. So you know, down like 3-4%, I would say. And here you can see, as I said, enter has to be perfect entries, or you're gonna get crushed. Because look at the stock scanner here. Here it is at the change of percentage, like 19%, 38%, 24%. These are nothing, man. By the time usually the pop is right 10-20%, then you can't get in that. So just like a 3% mover. So you got to be really careful in this kind of market. Yeah, so you know the markets are weak. Here you see when you have those kind of returns on the scanner. Here I would just say we climb back nicely at that 10% loss. Okay. I said that Ergo has this kind of move that can go to 50 cent actually. You see here, Ergo has potential to hit 50. And as you see later, this move, you see it goes to 44, goes a little back, retraces. I don't know, I tried to get into 39, but I was scared because in this kind of market. But the end of this story is it actually goes, and as you can see, it goes to the 51 zone. And that was the top of the range, just as I predicted. I've seen the graph and read it. And I even said to take a short at 50, because in this kind of market, usually this doesn't have any juice to continue, especially with that resistance at 50. So look at that, 2 minutes later, like 2.5 minutes later, you're already up 10% on the short. So that was a good call as well. So there's a good potential for, you know, anyone who got in at 34 and held it and held that position. Let's just say could have been up like 40%. Yeah, let's just calculate the exact percentage on Ergo if you held that position of 35.50. Can't find the percentages here. Hold on 1 second. Let's try one last time. Here we are. I'm gonna take the percentage of 34.50 here, and it went to 50. It's about a 45% move, and pretty insane. I ended up only taking 10% of that move. All right, let's continue. We have this stock here, ATAH. Well, DJT actually, news came out, Donald Trump stock. A small gainer, as you can see here. I went in at 380, took a stop at 390 because the ATH came out, so it's a little profit, nothing big, you know. Out at 390, went into that ATH 7 break. I'm looking for that break, and as you can see, I went in 6.75 in, and I put a 6.6 stop loss. Because again, the market's not strong, a lot of resistance at 7, so you need to take these levels lower. And I was kind of hoping it, you know, just to get into that break. There's nothing working out there in the stock market, so like, you know, let's try and get into that for the 7 break here, but it just didn't happen. I went out at 6.9. I didn't feel the price action going to break. Too much resistance, as I say. Yeah, I take another move. I see it coming back for the break. I get a little FOMO. I just go in half because, you know, I don't believe it's going to break this 7, but I just want to make sure I get in if it does. And I take a 6.6 full, so full position after that for a 675 average. And I take a stop loss of 645. So I take another little loss over there because yeah, it's not working out. Let's calculate that loss a minute. AT8H 675. I mean 675. Up. Here we go. And we took a loss at 645. Yeah, it's about a 4% loss. I'd say 4% loss on this stock. Small loss, yeah, 4%. Then I go in again for the 2 p.m. volume, and I take a small gainer because I first and foremost see AVTV moving, and I don't see it breaking at the moment. Happens to be that now, while I'm recording it, market open, ATH made that break to $8. So yeah, took a long time. So I went in 95 half, went out to 102. So that's like a 7.5% gainer. That's okay. We basically break even now on all the trades we made. It made me a little green, I would say. I don't want to take any risk. I'll go over 110. I see the 110 as a break. If it pops over 1.1, I might get in again. Yep. And then going again in EVTV at 101, half in. I'm out at 107, another like 5%, something like that, 4, 5, 6%. I'll go in again at 102. It doesn't happen. The break comes in, so I'm back in 101 and get out at 118, which is actually happened to be the top of the range. So that's like 8%. It's a nice 8%. So we're nice green already here, like 14, 15%, I would say. Then I go in half in at 109. It actually goes up till about 114. I could have taken out. I was hoping for the 120 to break and maybe to 130. It had potential, so I held in. And I take 105 full in. I see the price action deteriorating, so I'm half out of 109, my original entry, and I go back in at 105 full position. I put a stop at 104. I take out half of 110, so I have another 3% gainer of there, and I'm actually out at 109 fully. So we end up taking another 5-ish%. So we're like 17-18% green on the day. And this is where we start making, going into the red. Hopefully, we're already 18%. We're down like 15 to 20%. Now we're up like 15%. So I don't want to, I want to try and make this the move and go to the 30% range and then be profitable on the day. But yeah, it's getting tough. And that's where you make the mistakes because the price action is not there. So I get him back in 102, full at 1, put a stop loss at 98. I'm all out. So there's another loss of like 4%, I'd say, less 3%, and then I tried to get in again at 95 cents. It's the only stock with volume, So as you can see here again, there's no big gainers in the day. It's only 63%. So it's a very weak market. It shouldn't be trading much. That's the truth. That's why I say there's still no 100% stock in the day. So I take again at 09 because 09 on the chart is the bottom of the range. As you can, did I take a screenshot here? No, I didn't. Okay, so that is the bottom of the range. I said maybe there's a bounce. I put in a tight stop loss because if that breaks, we're going down. And look and behold, I put that stop. I took another 4.5% loss. So we actually end up the day with like 5% green or something like that. Maybe even less because this was a bigger position. Took twice in at 95, so it's like a 8% loss. Yeah, so it's a 5% on the day. Look at this dump afterwards, just straight down all the way to 65 cents. As I say, don't catch a falling knife, but at least I got in nice positions to take that potential up move, which didn't happen. So take a tight stop loss. So those are the lessons. You just gotta. In a weak market, don't overtrade. Don't try and make anything happen that is not gonna happen. Be very cautious. Wait for good entries. Take super entries. Don't take mediocre, because then you're just gonna, it's gonna go up 4 or 5%, but that's the top of the range, and you want that 10%. It's not gonna happen, and it just goes all the way back down. And just to see the stop loss here again at this first stock we took, which one, ADTX it was, or here, this is Orgo, Big C, AKTX. You see, we went out at like 28.80. It's now at like 24 cents. So again, that's the down move. If you gotta see the charts, and you gotta make sure to get good entries. And if it breaks that entry, a tight stop loss. So that's the main lesson of today. So today we're green, like 4 or 5%, but there's also commissions involved. So I think it's more like a break-even story today. But even in a bad, even in this kind of environment with a very weak market, but that's the point. You want to be trading big, nice, and a good market, and get those like 200% movers, 100% movers in the day, instead of like over trading in the weak markets. And especially if you don't have experience, this is where you're gonna lose all your money. You can have an amazing day, on a good day, make 40-50%, but then you think the next day is a good day in the market, you're gonna overtrade, lose 30%, and another day 30%, another 30% if you don't know what you're doing, and then you just have, you just lose your money. There's no point in doing that. So be frugal, be thoughtful, and that's how you're gonna make the money. See you on the next episode.